more than 1,186,000 volunteers enlisted in the first 5 months, but they would take time to train. Meanwhile, the British soldiers at the front were struggling to hold the line. Musketry standards had already declined, and morale had slumped as the Germans made gains in minor operations at Givenchy in December. Christmas 1914 was marked by a spontaneous unofficial truce in Flanders, where German and British soldiers fraternized in no man's land, taking photographs, swapping souvenirs, and even playing football. On Christmas Eve, the soldiers in the field agreed not to fire on one another. That night, on a front where 5 days earlier there had been savage fighting, the guns fell silent. On the following morning, German soldiers walked across towards the British wire, and British soldiers went out to meet them.
The whole of no man's land, as far as we could see, was grey and khaki. There they were smoking and talking, shaking hands, exchanging names and addresses after the war to write to one another.
The soldiers appeared with souvenirs, capstars, and badges. The British gave the Germans plum pudding. The Germans invited their enemy into their trenches and serenaded them with Christmas songs. When the Germans began to bury some of their frozen dead, the British soldiers had another shock.
They would put, the Germans, für Vaterland und Freiheit, for fatherland and freedom. And I said to a German, "Excuse me, but how can you be fighting for freedom? You started the war, and we are fighting for freedom." And he said, "Excuse me, English comrade, camarade, but we are fighting for freedom, for our country." And I say, you also put, "Here rests in God, an unbekannter, held. Here rests in God, an unknown hero, in God." Oh yes, God is on our side, but I said he's on our side. Well, English comrade, do not let us quarrel on Christmas Day.
The day after Christmas, infantrymen of both sides shouted warnings to their opposite number before opening fire. Hardening attitudes, as the war became increasingly bloody and impersonal, ensured that such incidents on this scale would not recur. But live and let live understandings accepted by both sides frequently prevailed in quiet sectors until the end of the war.